last night. It's a shocking incident, and first and foremost, my thoughts are with the family and friends of those who've been affected and those who are injured. At approximately 7:42 p.m. yesterday evening, there were calls to the police service in relation to multiple stabbings which took place on board a service that departed Doncaster at 6:25 p.m. and was en route to London King's Cross Station. Officers immediately attended Huntingdon Station alongside paramedics, where armed police officers from Cambridgeshire Police boarded the train and arrested 2 people. Within 8 minutes of the 999 call being made, 2 men were brought into police custody, where they remain this morning. I can tell you that these are the first male, a 32-year-old male, a black British national, and a 35-year-old man, a British national of Caribbean descent. They were both arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. Both were born in the United Kingdom. As stated, they remain this morning in separate police stations for questioning. 10 people were taken to hospital by ambulance, and another person self-presented later that evening. While 9 were initially believed to have life-threatening injuries, following assessment and treatment, 4, thankful to say, have been discharged. However, 2 patients remain in a life-threatening condition. British Transport Police declared a major incident yesterday, and counter-terrorism policing were initially supporting our investigation. However, at this stage, there is nothing to suggest that this is a terrorist incident. This is a British Transport Police investigation, and we continue to work to establish at pace the full circumstances and the motivations that have led to this incident. At this early stage, it would not be appropriate to speculate on the cause of this incident. As you can see, the station this morning remains closed. However, we expect trains to be passing through the station this morning. Passengers will see a high visibility presence of police officers at stations and on trains throughout today, up and down the transport network. Our officers are there to reassure the public and to address any concerns they may have. I'd like to thank the public personally for their patience and their cooperation. Yesterday evening, which has already greatly assisted our investigation through the help the public have tendered, as well as the multi-agency response partners from colleagues in other blue light services. I'd like to extend my thanks to our colleagues within Cambridgeshire Police, the East of England Ambulance Service, Cambridgeshire Fire and Rescue Service, and counter-terrorism policing. And finally, I'd like to appeal for anyone that's watching who has information connected to yesterday's incident, however big or small you feel that may be, that has not yet spoken to police, to make contact. You can do so by texting the British Transport Police on 61016, that's 61016, quoting reference 663 of the 1st of November 2025. Thank you very much. I won't be taking any more questions, but thank you very much.
Did they guess what these were?
There you go, guys. Short and sweet. They're not going to give anything away until they are mainly through their investigation. They will not want to incite things like, you know, racial hatred or anything that goes against you know, religious groups in the UK, any of that kind of speculation. They will want to keep that to a minimum for now. Our thoughts in the UK are with all of the victims and their families. This is getting increasingly worrying in our country. Obviously, we don't have guns, or should I say, we don't have legal guns in this country. So a lot of people have taken to using other weapons in the UK. I think what's going to happen is the more people get scared, the more innocent people could potentially arm themselves. Because, when people feel fear, it begets fear. Do you know what I mean? So unfortunately, you are going to find more and more people arming themselves in like self-defense ways than those that mean to go out and do harm. It comes to something when you can't walk down the street in the UK, or you can't get on a train or go about your daily business, when you've got people like this running around. It's a sad state of affairs. They don't put, even though I think most trains have got cameras these days, especially on the LNER branch of trains, they've all got cameras and CCTV. But usually help only comes after the fact. There's no help on the train. They don't put staff on trains anymore. Cutbacks, money wise. They don't put people on trains anymore to kind of walk up and down the carriages and make sure everybody's all right, or, people barely check tickets anymore. So I think it's going to have to come to the train companies putting people on for security. And of course that pushes up prices, train prices. It's a real bad, sad state of affairs. This was of particular interest to me because my son lives here. He actually works for the emergency services, and obviously I'm not going to say too much more because I'm not going to dox my kid out. But luckily for us and his wife, he was on a day off. It's his first day off of 3 days off, and they decided to stay home. But very often what happens from Huntingdon train station is it's a direct link into London. So the train leaves there, and from there you can get directly into a London train station. So very often people go and they'll go on a jolly into London. It takes about an hour or so. They go shopping, they go sightseeing. So this is one of the main arterial routes into London. And it's just awful that you just can't go about your business these days without the risk. It's extremely, extremely disheartening. And then obviously, whatever the significance is with Halloween or in the run up to Christmas and any other, time for people to go and celebrate or shop or, just go about their daily lives. It's a little bit unnerving, and it was just unnerving for me because it's right on my son's doorstep, literally. So I just thought I'd try and bring that to you. And hopefully we'll carry on finding out more as the day goes on, or into the coming week, 2 weeks maybe, as the investigation carries on. So I'll leave you with that, and thank you for listening if you do, and everybody be safe. Bye now.